today we would be talking about the effective communication. So when we talk about effective communication, what is most important when we are talking? And in all our previous classes we have already discussed what is important in effective communication. So when we are talking about effective communication, as we have already spoken about the process, the sender is passing a message and it should effectively reach the receiver. It has to be understood properly. It should convey complete message considering the audience, and it should be more effective. So when we are talking about effective communication, it has 7 C's in it. 7 C's. So when we are talking about effective communication as said, it has 7 C's of communication. Which we would learn one by one in detail, so that it could give an complete effectiveness to our communication, a professional communication, a proper communication. And by understanding the 7 C's of communication, I would first say it would improve our communication very well. It would make us more professional, that yes, how are we supposed to communicate? Fine. And this 7 C's would help us out in understanding this most important thing. So now when we are proceeding further, let's first talk about what are all the 7 C's. First, it is completeness. Second, conciseness. Third, clarity. Then we go to is consideration, then correctness, concise is done, this thing, then concreteness, and last but not the least, courtesy. So today we would study one by one about these things, that is completeness, conciseness, clarity, consideration, correctness, concreteness, and courtesy. And how is it important? All are interrelated, and this would even help us in giving a proper information that we are wanting to pass, and it would help the person even to understand proper. But again guys, let me tell you, first and foremost thing that we would keep in mind, we have ever to consider is the audience that we should know our audience. We have to cover them accordingly. Anything that we are speaking or writing, it has to be according to the audience that we are covering. So first we have to know the public, the audience that we would be covering. So that is again most important thing. And when we are talking about this 7 C's of communication is applicable, in both oral and written communication. It is applicable in both oral and written. So we will have to keep this in mind, that this 7 C's are followed for both oral and written. So now when we start with, let's start with first and foremost complete. So when we are taking first completeness, see, when we are talking about completeness, the word itself says any message or anything that we are either verbally conveying it or oral, written when we are conveying a message, it has to be complete. It has to be complete, because if the message is not complete, it gives assumption for the opposite person could consider or think anything that they want. They can complete it according to their requirement, and that time we cannot blame anyone because our message was not complete. Suppose someone asked me or someone asked you, do I need to come tomorrow? I just give a message, it's up to you. Do you think it's a correct message given? I don't think, because do I need to come tomorrow? Answer is either yes or no. It gives a complete meaning, but it's up to you. So if I'm not coming tomorrow, it is absent marked, and that time it's not the opposite person who has taken the leave at fault, because my answer was it's up to you. It is not a complete answer. Complete answer is short and sweet, yes or no. So let's be crisp and clear onto the thing and give complete message, because when a message is not completely passed, it creates lot of misunderstanding. Every message has to be complete. Conveying complete message. Again, it has to be short and sweet. As we said, we would follow the acronym KISS. Fine, keep it short and sweet, but again it has to have complete message. Fine. And again, when we are looking into, it should convey, first point when we are looking into, it should convey complete all the facts required to be delivered and to the opposite person, to the sender. Because if it is not presenting complete facts, fine, then it is a half done message. When it is a half done message, it can create, if half done, or incomplete message, it can create misunderstanding, and wrong impression, wrong message, and can cause havoc. And we have to stop this, because incomplete message is not right. I can assume anything according to my thought, my attitude, my nature. Fine. So if I am not, as a sender, If I'm not giving a proper message, the receiver can take the message as the receiver wants, according to their attitude and nature and as per their mindset. So we cannot blame them. We are at fault. Fine. And then now when we are looking at the next point is, again, when we are giving a complete message, it should be in an organized way. It should be in an organized pattern. Fine. In such a way that the receiver has no doubts and understands it well. Fine. So these are the points that please keep it in mind, because our incomplete message is dangerous. Fine. So now when we are talking about the complete communication, the features of complete is features. When we are looking into the features of this thing, first is it develops and enhances reputation of an individual or organization. This is the first feature, because when we are presenting something, even a presentation that we are giving or a mail or a message, fine, when we are talking as an individual, suppose I reporting to a manager of mine, I don't convey a message in a professional language, a complete message, and not even like properly conveying the message as needed, fine, for the opposite person to understand. Would it look professional? No. It carries a wrong impact, a wrong message about me, that yes, this person is of very casual attitude and an unprofessional behavior. So please guys, now that we are growing up and we are getting ready for a professional life future, let us understand that yes, any message that we would pass, even to our friends, family, professionally, to our teachers or to anyone that we are communicating with, we pass complete message, because that would give an impression of yourself first and even about your family and your school, college. So please carry a strong impact, conveying complete message. Fine. And then second is, it always gives like additional information whenever required. To be said, to be frank, it leaves no question. It leaves no question. Fine. So when we are telling it, there are many things, when a message is half done, incomplete, it has many questions. How, why, when, all those things, and you have to be answering them. But if your message is complete, it has no new question, it raises no new question, it is a complete message it is talking about. Fine. And again, it leaves no question, so it leaves no question. And third point which we would tell is, it saves time and money too. Fine. It saves both time and money. How? See, if I pass an incomplete message, I'll have to again and again, be reverting to the questions raised. So I'm wasting their time and my time both. Secondly, how money? See, it is like when you are working onto the thing, electricity, resource, yourself, you can work out on other things. Instead, you are blocked into something which should have, if complete message, you should have done something else better. So it's like time and money both are valuable and going hand to hand. So it saves time and money both. So when we are talking about a complete message, it also persuades the audience. It gives a strong impact about you, that yes, anytime the person speaks, gives complete information. So it is worth hearing to the person. So, there's a confidence that you grow among people for yourself and people trust you. Fine. So, guys, first thing is the completeness. Fine. Completeness is done. Next, we would go to second thing is, second point is concised. Conciseness. So, when we are talking about conciseness, concise, what does concise mean? Concise means wordiness. When we are talking about wordiness, it is like any word that you are using during any message that you are passing, either verbally or in a written form, oral form or written form. Use right words. Right word usage will again, help us not creating misunderstanding. So, the wordiness, conciseness is the wordiness. Fine. So, and it is like use right word usage, the right word usage. Right word usage can give the correct message. It gives a correct message in least possible ways. How? See, when you have used a right word, it completes your message in a correct way. Fine, the person again understands what you want them to understand and in a proper manner. Again, when we talk about conciseness, completeness, all are connected. All the C's are again interconnected to each other. And so, if it's a concise message, it is short and sweet. One of the features of it is again, it is short and sweet because we have used right words, no too many words, and it gives a complete message. It again saves time and money. So, when we are talking about the features, fine, the features of the concise messages, yes, so the features of the conciseness, it is again time and money saving. Why? Because we have used right words. So, it is easy. It will save our time, their time, our money, their money. Again and again, they need not mail you or revert you back that please answer this, answer that. What is the meaning of this? What is that? Nothing. Right words. And guys, please remember when we talk about right words, don't use such words which people don't understand. And use simple and sweet words so that every person who is listening to you or the receiver, whoever the receiver is, understands your message completely well, the way you wanted to, the message that you really wanted to pass. That's very, very important. And guys, especially for this conciseness, we need to follow the acronym KISS. Keep it short and sweet. Fine, and this is very, very important to keep it short and sweet, because if it is short and sweet, it saves everyone's time. No much of reading. I think we would agree to this, because if we receive any long lengthy message or mail, it's like first thought we get is, oh, what should have the person sent? What exactly it is? And then we ever think is, okay, when I get time, I'll read it. Might be it is a very important message. But again, we keep it in mind as, I'll read it when I get time. And again, when we have time, we forget. So don't. Keep it short and sweet. Example I'll give you. Suppose you're requesting for, you want some important document from one of the clients. Fine. Or even important notes from the teacher. You can mail it in a short and a sweet language and complete it in 2 lines so that the person just reading into this can understand that yes, this is the thing required, instead of going into the lengthy, for this reason I want this. No, don't do that. Fine. So please follow this. Next, when we are going to, this is the third point, consideration. When we are talking about consideration, what is consideration? Consideration is, you have to consider to whom you are talking to, your audience, whom you are addressing. So when you are talking to any person, you have to again step into their shoes, understand them well, and then accordingly talk. So in short, when you are telling, consideration is stepping into someone's shoes and then addressing them, conveying the message. We will convey what we have to convey. It's not that we will talk as they want us to talk. No. It is what we have to present that we will present. But again, we will use right words considering our clientage, people whom we are addressing, our audience, our receivers. And then accordingly we will give our best so that what message we want to pass, it rightly goes to them and it's a complete message. Fine. So we have to, third and the most important point, otherwise as we had already spoken earlier, encoding, decoding and all those things, the message is not completely understood, not properly understood. So consider the audience that we are addressing. Fine. So when we are talking about consideration is stepping into other shoe and addressing accordingly. Fine. Then now when we are talking about the features, fine. When we are talking about the features, a main feature is emphasize and emphasize and adapt you attitude, which is appreciated. What is you attitude? When we are talking about you attitude, what happens is, when I keep I attitude, it is selfishness. When I give it as you attitude, it is understanding, considering the person, understanding the person and working accordingly in a better way. And that gives a very good impact about you because it is like you are a giver. You are open to your people. You are more understanding. And the best part is you are selfless and not selfish. So when we are talking about this you attitude, I think we should carry that. It will help us grow better. Fine, it will help us grow better because we are open to things. Fine, it will even help us understanding our audience. So please, during consideration, this is very important. Fine. Then it is emphasize on your audience, and not on self, and exhibit interest. What is exhibiting interest? See, when you are covering the audience, fine, you have to think about them, not about yourself. And you have to again create an interest in your audience so that they pay attention to what you are saying, to every word, and it makes them stick up to their seats, stick up to their place till the end. And next thing is, even next time when it's your presentation, they would give interest is, here it's to be said, it's that person's presentation and let me be there. So this is very, very important that when we are considering it, it is one important fact. When we are looking into, when we are talking about consideration. You will have to modify your words according to the audience. See, we cannot be using same words among every type of audience. How our audience is, we have to consider things accordingly and get the changes in the words and presentation accordingly. So, please consider the audience, our receiver, our public whom we are covering. Fine. Next, when we are talking about clarity. Fourth point is clarity. So, when we are talking about clarity, I think it is very clear whatever we are presenting, it should be crisp and clear, well understood, short and sweet, giving complete message. So, whatever we are presenting should be clear that what we are presenting. It should be clear to us and to our audience both, not only one sided. Many times it happens when we are talking about something, we start, but again we fumble in between because our thoughts are not clear. So, when we are talking about clarity, there should be clarity in thoughts and words. Whatever we want to say, this is very important. We need to have clarity in thoughts and words. Because if we have clarity in thoughts and words, our task becomes easy. Our task becomes very easy because we know what we want to present. We know, we are clear about what is the audience that we are going to. So, our message goes completely well with right word usage. We consider everything, our audience that we are covering. So, there is clarity in everything, our thoughts and the words. Fine. So, when we are talking about it, features about the clarity, it makes understanding easier. First, then every message, every or any message is clearly conveyed. Fine, there is again, this is, even this if we are saying when we are clear about the thing, again this is time and money saving. Fine, it is again time and money saving. And then we are talking about it gives exact, appropriate and a complete message. It conveys exact, appropriate and a complete message. So, again when we are talking about it is very useful. We need to have the clarity onto whatever we are, because if there is no clarity, first thing is, if there is no clarity, we would not be complete, because when there is no clarity, we don't know how to use, we are not concised. We don't know because we are not clear into the things, we are not clear what we have to do, we don't know how to address our audience. So, all the first C's till now that we have covered, none of them would be worked on to if we have no clarity. So, first is clarity is very important, only then all other things would follow up. Next, when we are talking about, it is like correctness. Let's go to correctness. Fine. Now, when we are looking into the correctness, clarity when we have already spoken, when we are talking about correctness, any information that we are passing, okay, it will be complete, considered, everything is fine. But we are not passing correct information. Do you think it is right? No, it is not. It is unethical. Message has to be passed correctly, no false information, fine, no unethical information. So, when we are talking about correctness, correct message when we are saying, is of correct words, grammatically correct, and apart from that, it should be no false information, no unethical information, because when we are talking about unethical information or false information, do you think it is correct? I don't. I would say no, it is not correct. And apart from that, again we look into the thing, grammatically it has to be correct, because only then it will be a complete correct information passed, and words that you are using even has to be correct. That's very important. Find a correct information when you want to pass. Words actually has to be considered, only then that the right message is passed. We cannot manipulate onto the things. No, I wanted to say this and I have told this. No, that cannot. So you have to be, and you have to follow a correct procedure. You have to follow correct procedure when you want to give correct message. Okay, fine. So correct procedure has to be followed. So now when we are talking about the features, it is when you want to give correct information, please check, take permission when you are speaking something. Fine. Check on words, one thing. Second thing goes is, when we are going in a proper manner, for many things we need to take permission before whatever that we are doing it. Fine. So check on accuracy. How accurate the message is. Is it right or wrong? Fine. Fine. Check for the accuracy. Is it right or wrong? Because if you give any information without checking, again it is incorrect procedure and incorrect message has been passed. So again it is wrong. So we will have to check on that point even. Again, when we are looking into the correct message, correctness has great impact on receiver, because when you are passing correct information, that trust becomes more on you, that no, anytime that the person is conveying any message, it's with the facts and the figures. Facts and the figures are checked properly and no message is wrong. So you are increasing your credentiality and your popularity even increases, because that trust increases. Fine. So, and next, again when we are looking into, for this correct information even, it again saves time and your connectivity, your connections. It saves your time and your connections, because when you are passing right information, people who are connected with you would like to stay connected with you, because that bonding becomes strong and that trust becomes strong. Fine. There are no manipulations, no wrong informations. Our next C is concreteness. So, when we are talking about concreteness, what is concreteness? Fine. So, when we are looking at concreteness, it is like when you are giving a concrete message, it means it should be very effective, clear, specific, vivid, and definite. What does this mean? This means any message that we are passing. See, if a message is not correctly passed or it is incomplete, it would not be effective. It doesn't carry a clear message. And where we have to specify on few things. When we are teaching or even giving any message, we have to be specific about some things. Again, our way of presenting it. If it is effective on that specifications, it's very clearly understood. Otherwise, no, it would not be. And again, see, when we are talking about speaking, when it is speaking, when we are speaking, oral communication, when we are talking, when we are giving a concrete message, our intonation to that point differs. Fine. And when it is into return message, we highlight on few things because we are specific about that point. Fine. And we want to define something connected to it. It is very definitive. So, we would highlight it or bold it so that it is understood well. So, when we are talking about concrete, fine, this is a sixth C, concrete. So, when we are talking about this concrete, messages, when we are clear onto the thing, when we want to completely pass a message considering our audience, we would again be specific on few points so that it gives its own effect. It should be more effective. Because see, all crowd that we would address, all the audience that we will speak to, all will not be same. So accordingly, we have to give the specifications. And according to the receiver, we will have to highlight on few things to make it more effective. So please keep this thing in mind. The message that you want to pass, it again has to be concrete so that it is understood well. If it is concrete, it is easy. It becomes easy to understand. It becomes, it becomes more clear in understanding. It gives a complete sense of understanding and it makes your task easy because the message you want to pass, again it is passed. So please remember, when needed, highlight on few things so that it could be more specific and effective and clear. It is clear that yes, this is what I meant. Fine. So I hope this is understood well. So when we are talking about concrete communication, concrete communication implies being partial, particular, let's say it, being particular, specific, mainly because we are being concrete, we are being particular on few points. That is why we are concrete on it. Fine. We are being particular and clear, rather than being fuzzy and general. See, when we want to pass some message, and if we talk in the same general manner, would the person be able to understand what mainly we want to specify? No. So, when you have to specify, fine, this is one point that you will take care of. Fine, you will have to be particular and clear about what you want to say. Emphasize it, specify it. Fine, so that it becomes more crisp and clear, well understood, instead of being fuzzy and a general statement. So again, when it's a general statement, the person can take it as the person wants to take it. It will not give a clear information. So please, if you want to pass a clear message, a concrete message, be specific. Fine. Next, again one more point is concreteness again strengthens confidence. When we are talking, how would it strengthen the confidence? Because see, when we are talking about few things, we are highlighting it, we are intonating in a proper manner. We will have to be confident to present the thing in a perfect manner, and to specify those things, you have to be sure about what you are specifying. If I am going to pass a statement and if I am confident about that statement, only then I will highlight it. I am sure about the point, and so I am specifying it, so I am mentioning it. Fine, that would add, because your confidence will add a different effect to it. So when we are talking about a concrete message, it itself carries confidence in you. It will give you a confidence. If you are confident, you can give a better effect on your message. Fine. Now when we are talking about the features about the concrete message, again first we are looking at is it is supported specific facts. Specific facts and figures. What do you mean by specific facts and figures? See, especially when we are talking about concrete message, you can be specific and confident about the thing only if you are sure about the facts, if you are sure about the facts and figures. Facts and figures, if you are not sure, you will not be able to be confident and specific. So it is supported with specific facts and figures, only then it's a concrete message. If you are giving a concrete message, you should, before giving the facts and figures, you will have to study on it that what you are talking is right. Otherwise you cannot. As we had again earlier spoken about correctness, if you have not studied the facts and figures, there is no correctness in the information. So again the information is misled, it is not correct information. So no correctness, no complete message, no proper message given. So again, when we are giving, the concrete message is always supported with facts and figures. So please keep that in mind. Fine. Next, when we are talking, it makes use of words that are clear and built reputation. See, how would you say it as this is mentioned? It makes use of words that are clear and build reputation. How would it help you in building reputation? Because see, when you're giving a concrete message, you talk about the facts and figures. You're confident about it. So naturally, in your receivers and your audience, it gives some reputation about you because you have studied on the facts, you present it confidently. So it gives a great impact, a great reputation. Fine. So when you are giving a concrete message, please work on the facts and figures, be confident while presenting it. Fine. And concrete messages are not interpreted. In fact, it is not misinterpreted, pretended. I would say it is not misinterpreted. So, when you're talking about anything, studying about it, doing a survey about it, when you're being confident and specifying it, it cannot be misinterpreted. They will interpret, they will understand it, they will not misunderstand it or misassume it. No misinterpretation pretension is done because you're talking with the facts and figures, you're talking with the study, you're being confident, your presentation itself is worked well. So, concrete messages again has a great impact on our presentation. Fine. So, when we are talking about the concrete message, again it has to be correct, complete. Fine, only then that it has its own impact on it. Fine, next when we are talking about courtesy. What is courtesy? We meet people, we talk to them. Fine, we talk in a humble manner. If you meet a friend, hi, how are you? Hope you're doing well. That is the courtesy that you show. Instead of meeting, you don't ask in a proper manner. How are you? If this is your tone, do you show you're showing the courtesy? So being humble, being courteous, again has a great impact on your personality. When you're courteous, it shows you're more humble, you're more organized, more professional, and a real good human being. Every time we cannot be general in talking to everyone. We will have to be, where needed, we have to be humble, we have to be courteous. That shows the etiquettes that we carry, the ethics that we carry. So again, this is the 7th C, courtesy. Fine. So when we are talking about courtesy, okay, courtesy in message, whether it's oral or written, fine, implies sender's expression, feelings, attitude, and respect for the receiver. Again, when we are talking, as we ever say, study, you should know whom you are going to, who is your receiver, who is your audience. So, because we will have to present accordingly, we have to respect them, and we will have to have an attitude, behavior accordingly. So, when we have courtesy, whatever message a sender is giving, it shows, even if it is written communication, fine, it will show that what type of person you are, how courteous you are, your attitude, your feelings. Fine. It even shows your expressions. Sometimes that we are sad, even what we have written, that implies, that shows. So again, courtesy in your words, in your presentation, in your message, again shows your attitude, your etiquettes. Fine. That is very, very important. That shows how much you respect your audience, your people, and what type of a person you are. That shows your own personality, being humble to all. Fine. If you remember, great philosophers have ever said, be good to the world. World will naturally be good to you because you are good naturally, automatically that goodness of yours attracts. So again, when we are talking about courtesy, that shows your attitude and etiquettes, and that would help you a lot. Fine. Now when we are talking about the center of the message, courtesy, when we are saying center of the message, for courtesy it should be polite, humble, judicious, reflective and enthusiastic. Naturally, when we are courteous, we are doing something good. So we have to be enthusiastic in showing our expressions. Fine. We have to be polite. We have to be polite, humble to people. When you're polite and humble, naturally it shows your personality that yes, this is a good person. Judicious, reflective, that shows your personality. Reflection of your personality is seen. So that is how when we are talking about courtesy, it has its own impact on your communication. Among the 7 C's, when it is courtesy, without courtesy, all your messages, you sound shrewd. You sound shrewd, bit unorganized. It shows your personality. And again, it carries a negative impact if you're not courteous. So please follow this. That would help you out a lot. So when we are talking about the features, fine, features are features 1. Okay, one feature about being courteous is it is taking in consideration viewpoint and feelings with respect. This is one of the main feature of courtesy. Fine. If you're following this, you will, what your viewpoint is, you have to present it. But again, you have to present it in a proper manner, in a courteous manner. Respecting the crowd, respecting your audience, respecting whoever is your receiver. And again, feelings of both you and them is again very important. Only then that you will be able to present it properly. Fine. Next is, main point is, they are positive and focused on audience or the receiver. It is all accordingly done. Because see, when you're courteous, naturally it's a positive impact. It is a positive message that it is passing. So being positive again is very, very important. And when you're positive, naturally positive vibes pass. And again, according to the audience, according to your audience, you would give your best presentation, being courteous. Fine. So it will have a great positive impact on you even. So guys, now when we are talking about follow all the 7 C's, fine, let's follow all the 7 C's and make a communication complete, more professional. And trust me, when you have you understand 7 C's of communication well and imply them on your communication when you are talking to people or whomever you meet. When you are following this, it will have a great impact on you. It will have a great impact of you, and it will give you yourself a great confidence on your communication. You will be able to give a better presentation. So, please follow 7 C's. It is important part of communication and it will help in making your communication more effective. So I hope every one of you have understood 7 C's of communication well. and hope we do well. Fine. All the best. Have a great day.